While making sure that you have a plan set up for your goals at the start of the month is a great way to make sure you get things done, I always find that the mid-month point is where my energy kind of wanes, where my motivation slips, and I tend to just kind of put myself on autopilot. To help me avoid this though, what I really like to do is a mid-month check-in. This is a great opportunity to remotivate ourselves, refocus on the work we need to do in order to get the things done that we want to by the end of the month. In terms of the structure of the layout, these sections that I like to include are a space to outline any goals I have been working on, the ones that I set up for myself at the start of the month as things I specifically wanted to target. I also like to have a space to list out any other projects I've been working on though. Sometimes the things that we've been working on, they weren't specifically set up as goals at the start of the month, but the progress we've made in them can be something we're proud of, so I wanted a space to acknowledge that those things have been happening as well. In terms of other sections though, we have achieved, so these are any kind of milestones hit, progress made, whether it's small or larger, things that aren't complete, stuff that I set up at the start of the month as things that I wanted to do in terms of action steps, but I haven't quite gotten around to them. We have challenges or things that have kind of hindered my progress on my goals, things that have held me back from getting stuff done, whether they be kind of like outside of my control or within my control. We have similarities, and this one's specifically thinking about achieved and incomplete items. So what are the similarities between the things I've been able to get done? What can I learn from that? What are the similarities between the things I haven't been able to get done? Is there anything I can learn from that? These three sections at the bottom though, we have taking forward, to try, and priorities. So for priorities, it's like, what do I really want to kind of focus my attention on in the rest of the month? Make sure that that actually gets done. Are there any kind of ideas that I have that I'm taking forward in terms of the way I tackle my goals? This in particular comes from any of the similarities or like learnings that I have. And then for the to try section, this is for any kind of new strategies or tactics, stuff that I might want to give a go to make even more progress. Getting in and actually filling that in though, the first sections I do start with are goals and the other projects, mainly because this kind of sets the tone for the reflection. I like to keep the majority of this stuff goal related, mainly because the primary function of this layout is to help me make more progress on my goals. By having those lists accessible on this page, I can think about what have I achieved in terms of goal 1, 2, 3, 4? What have I still got to do in terms of those other projects? As I fill each of the sections in though, I flip back to the other layouts I've used in the month, think about those achievements that I've made, note any of those challenges, rather than solely relying on my memory, sitting on this page, umming and ahhing and just kind of like racking my brain. We can rely on the other stuff that we've already included in our journal to help us populate this one. It's really just about bringing that information together so we can use the different sections to gain insights about ourselves as goal getters. While I do go through and fill these in section by section in this video, typically speaking, I would usually just jump around the page wherever my thoughts kind of carry me. Sometimes when you fill in something you've achieved, you instantly think of a priority, or sometimes when you fill in a challenge, you can instantly think of something you want to take forward moving into the second half of the month. For the sake of easy editing and also making sure I do a thorough job of this though, I went through section by section this time. I also don't always pre-scaffold out all of these sections. In knowing that October was going to be a very busy month for me, I wanted to make sure that this layout was pre-scaffolded out so I didn't have to draw it up during the month when I'm trying to get things done. That may have meant that there were other things that I could have included if I had more space in each of the boxes. As mentioned before, the similarities box is for thinking about what kind of things are common, either between the things I've achieved, accomplished, tasks I've been able to get done, versus the ones that are incomplete. Maybe I haven't started them, I've made a little progress but not very much. To indicate whether it was a positive similarity or a negative one, so positive being something that actually helped me get things done, and negative being like hindered my progress. In those cases, I just used a little check mark or a little cross to indicate the positive versus negative direction, mainly because moving forward, I want to lean more into the positive things, kind of use those to make more progress in my goals, and either tweak my approach to the negatives or try and change them, mitigate them, make it so that they won't further hinder my progress. Typically, the sections that I fill in towards the end of the reflection process are the taking forward, to try, and priorities boxes. While the priorities are really just the tasks that I want to focus on getting done in the last half of the month, the taking forward and to try sections are more about strategies and tactics for goal getting in general. So reaffirming those things that are helping me move the needle, the ones I've already been using that I want to continue to use, that's the taking forward box, and then thinking about any other things that I might want to try in order to make more progress. That notably goes in the to try box. What you can set up after doing a mid-month check-in is something like a reevaluated actions list where you just summarize the things you want to get done in the rest of the month, especially if you set yourself quite a lot of actions at the start of the month and you haven't really been able to get very many done. While I'm not doing that in this video, mainly because I kept my actions list fairly targeted, I knew coming into October that it was going to be a busy month. I wasn't going to be able to get all that much done outside of my regular work. It can be useful to set up a new layout just so that you're not getting kind of distracted or possibly demotivated. If you're still using the same actions list that you set up at the start of the month and it's got a bunch of things on there that you just know you're not realistically going to be able to do, it can kind of put you in a bit of a negative mindset moving into the second half of the month, just thinking about all of that stuff that you kind of wanted to get done and you're not going to be able to get done. Remember, part of the point of doing this mid-month check-in is to re-motivate ourselves, so try and avoid things that bring your motivation down. If using your previous actions list is going to do that, consider setting up a new one. When we're learning any new skill, it can take a little bit of time to get used to and get familiar with the process, and mid-month reflection is certainly like that as well. If you're not super comfortable with reflecting, then this can take a little while, but I do want to assure you that this process will be worth the effort you put into it, provided you're being honest with yourself during your reflection. Even though it feels a little bit awkward or uncomfortable now, you're gonna get better at it the more you do it. As part of filling in my mid-month reflection though, I do make sure to turn back to my monthly reflection and fill in any relevant sections there as well. Often, if I try and leave this to just the end of the month and filling this in, I will forget things that happened at the start of the month, or even up to kind of the midway point. I will also go and jot things down in this layout outside of my reflection times, just so that things are getting filled in a more timely manner, because oftentimes I can't really rely on my memory to remember the things that were wins, the things that were memory-making moments, which feels a little sad because they're memories and I can't rely on my memory for them, but writing them down on this layout in a more timely manner just helps me out. The mid-month reflection is also just a good opportunity to check back in with your journal, ensure that you've filled in any of your monthly collections, any of your start of journal logs and trackers, effectively any layout that you may have been neglecting. And because I usually do my mid-month reflection on a weekend, it's also a good opportunity to get set up for the week ahead. My mid-month reflection is completely based on the information we have in my goals course, Epic Goals. If you wanted more information about how to set and plan goals that actually get achieved, then there's a link in the description box for that. Otherwise, for more goal-getting bullet journal related content, then this playlist is the next one to check out. In that one we have all of my previous goal related videos, so click or tap on that one and I'll see you over there.